Now, so you're welcome to another class on SED412, Industry and Industrial
Yes, sir.
Action. Can you remind me
And that's our issue.
what did you discuss last lesson? I can see scratching your head.
Yes.
I can see you scratching your head. I can't.
Sorry, I've been very busy lately.
I know be very
Yes, sir.
busy now. Your exam will still come very soon.
Mm,
Your exam will come very soon. Just be busy. All right. So anyway, let's just go on
I
to
will start going through.
today's topic.
Okay, sir.
So let me see. Let me
Okay.
try and share my screen. Okay.
Okay.
Coming now. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Let me put it in slide mode. So what's the topic? What's the topic
Okay.
for today? We're on topic 3. Read it out.
The location and classification of industries.
Good. I combined two topics in one. We are going to talk about
Okay.
location of industries, and
Okay.
we're also going to talk about classification of industries.
Industries.
Yes, we're going to talk about those two. So let's go to the first slide. So these are our learning objectives.
Okay.
At the end of this class, you should be
Okay.
able to do the following. I want you to read them out for me. What are those things? These 8.
Num-
Read out.
Number one, define industries.
So
Industry.
yeah, at the end of today, you
Number
should
two,
define industry. Good.
yes, classify industries into sectors.
Good.
Number three, distinguish between industry classification benchmark ICB and global industry classification standard GICS.
Good. 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 Number
Number
4.
four, classify industries by products.
Good.
Number five, put standard industrial classification SIC into its group.
Good.
Number six, define location of industry. Number seven, list factors influencing the location of an industry. And number eight, state reasons for government participation in the location of industries in Nigeria.
So these are the 8 points we'll quickly go through in our discussion. So,
Okay, sir.
and I believe you are going to follow up with your course materials. Follow up with your
Okay,
course
sir.
materials. So, what
Yes,
is
sir.
industry? What is an industry? So,
Okay.
can you go through the definition?
Yes, industry is the production of a good or service within an economy.
So, this is, when you talk about industry, two basic things are
Yes.
key: goods and services.
Services.
Goods and services. So, it also entails erasing, producing, processing, or manufacturing of products. So, that is
Yes.
the short definition of industry.
Industry.
So that is just it. Then you go through your course material to get further explanation about it.
Definition.
Now,
Okay, sir.
if you're talking about industries, there are various ways you can classify industries. You can classify
Okay.
them in various ways. So there are basic four four basic ways of classifying them. You can
Okay.
classify industries into sectors. So we shall examine the 4 categories later. So it's either you use sectorial classification. So then or you use market-based classification. There's what we call market-based classification system. So then we also have what we call
Okay.
classification by product. You use the products from those or the services they render, use them to classify the industries. And there's what we call standard
Okay.
industrial classification, the standard industrial classification. So
Okay.
these are the basic, the four basic ways in which you can classify. In,
Okay.
so
Industry.
yes, you can see here. So there are many different types of industries. You can classify industry into four main categories: pri- primary, secondary, tertiary, and let's go to the next slide where we see the. Now look at this one now.
Yes.
Classification of industry into sectors. Classification of industry into sectors. There are four
The
basic.
sectors.
There are four basic sectors. You know, there are four basic sectors you can classify industries. So mention,
Okay.
study. I want you to follow the slide and read them out. What is the first one?
The first one is primary
Primary sector.
extraction of resource. Primary sector, yes.
Yes. Continue.
They do extraction of resources directly from the earth, such as farming, mining, and logging.
Do you understand that concept? This,
Yes.
now, can you just say one or two things more about primary sectors of industry?
Okay. Like the logging aspect, those who cut down trees and transport it
Good.
to where they are cut into sizes
Okay.
and then market. Mining has to do with bringing
Mention with I just
the
mention some companies. Mention some companies in Nigeria
oh,
today that can be classified into primary sector.
okay companies like we cannot count. Okay, Dangote.
Okay. Which of the company?
Um, uh, okay, Dangote has many many companies.
Which of the company of Dangote can be categorized under primary sector?
Like the cement,
Good,
cement,
good. You are correct.
the one,
Right.
the
You
one
are
that
correct.
makes cement.
Why
Yes.
do you think cement factory, Dangote cement factory, fits into primary sector? Why do you think
Yeah,
Dangote?
because the materials
Good,
for the production of cement, they are mined from the earth.
good. So you can now think of that several companies that mine and get their product raw directly. So that's why they
Yes.
include farming. Include
Okay.
farming. So any industry that make use of you know farm produce, maybe
Okay.
directly from the farm, so can be classified. Now go to secondary sector.
Okay. They are processing products from primary industries, and this include all factories.
Good, good. So the primary industries will get them directly. So those mention a good example, just an example.
Okay, like PZ.
PZ. Which of their products comes to your mind?
PZ is making what do they make? They make creams.
Okay. I'd, actually,
Uh,
I thought you're going to mention something like Nestle.
Soap.
From what is the why do you class? Tell me which material they use that make them
They
secondary.
use they use palm oil.
Okay, palm oil, and the production of palm oil is under primary sector.
Yes.
The example that came to my mind is Nestle, Nestle,
Nestle products.
Nestle product. You know,
Okay.
they deal with a lot of food items,
Beverages.
beverages,
Okay.
cocoa, then cornflakes, and some other
Yes.
product like that. So you should be able to give instances and now go on to the third one. Go read out the third sector.
The tertiary sector involves delivery and sale of goods. They include truck drivers and retail workers.
So in this sector now, there are more of services. Okay,
Yes.
there are more of services because they now move the product from the secondary sectors up and down. They go into sales of goods. They go into delivery of goods. Into different areas of the economy. Now look at this. The last two,
Okay.
quaternary.
What, Larry?
No, so when you are moving to the advanced level of
Yes.
the industry, you go read out that of the fourth classification.
Quaternary, research in science and technology and other high-level tasks.
So any industry that
Yes.
involves in high level technology, science and technology, all the computer industries and
Okay.
many other companies that has to do with science and technology, they're categorized. They cannot be considered under primary. They cannot be placed under secondary. That's why they created the quaternary. So,
Okay.
and this level, the last one, which is quinary, they try
Quinary.
they try to find that they want to put everyone under a particular sector. They want to put, some people they are not in the primary sector. They work within the economy, but they are not in the primary sector. They are not in the secondary sector. They are not also
Okay.
in the tertiary sector, but they engage in policy making for the society. They engage in
Okay.
decision making for the society. So that is why
Okay.
they also categorize them under a particular industry. They call
Okay.
them quinary. So
When
these are the
quinary.
basic classifications of industry, which I want you to take notes. Let's go to the next slide. So
Okay.
we now want to look at the market-based classification. Market-based classification. We have what you call under the market-based. There are two types: the industry classification benchmark, those that use industry classification benchmark (ICB), and those are called global industrial classification standard (GICS). So these are the two under market-based. And look at the first one, industry classification benchmark. Okay, industries, 10 industries group into 19 super sectors. You see, at the first level, they identify 10 different industries at the first level.
Okay.
Okay. And at the second level, they are grouped into 19 super sectors. Okay. Maybe
Okay.
under each of the first 10, they are grouped into this and they further divided them into 41 sectors. So which then
Okay.
contain 114 sectors. So this is
Okay.
one mode of classification. You get more details in your course material. And this is
Okay.
another type of classification, global industrial classification standard. Okay. So
Okay.
they make use of these categories. Consumer dissectionary. There are some goods that's under this one. Consumer
Okay.
staples. There are some industries that deal with consumer staples. There are some industries that are under energy. There are some industries that deal with energy. There are some industries that deal with financials. There are some industries that are under healthcare. Okay. So we have industrials, we have IT, materials, telecom services, utilities, all these they are under global industrial classification. Okay. And further under that, they are divided into 10 sectors. In the first one, they also have 10 industries. But in this one, they have 10 sectors, just like that one. Here, they now have 20 industry groups under that global industrial classification. They make use of state industries under this one too. And the sub-industries on the whole, we have 154 sub-industries. So this is another form of classification of, you see, you are free to adopt any form of classification that is, much more convenient to you. You are very free.
Okay.
So that is just that. So this is the second one. Let's go to the third one. Now, the third classification is by what? What can you see there?
By products.
By product. So it's by product. Read out those products you have there, and if there's anyone
Okay.
you want to
We have the chemical industry,
do you think they exist?
petroleum industry, automotive in.
Wait, the chemical
Yes,
industry, do they exist? Yes.
they exist. Yes, sir.
Huh. And be telling me if they exist or they do not. That is to assess your
Okay.
agreement with this industry. Continue.
Okay. Chemical industry, they exist. Petroleum industry exists. Automotive industry, they exist also. Electronic industry, they exist.
Okay.
Meat packing industry, they exist also.
Okay.
Yes. Then hospitality industry, the hotels and all the rest, they exist.
Good.
Food industry exists. Fish industry exists. Software industry, they exist.
Good.
Paper industry, they exist.
Good.
Entertainment industry, they exist.
Good.
Semiconductor industry, I'm not sure they exist. Okay, they make semiconductors.
Semiconductors
Yes.
are used in electronics.
Electronics, yes.
They are used, so
Yes.
semiconductor is a very big field in physics. So they exist.
Yes.
We may not have them in
Okay.
Nigeria, but they exist.
Yes.
Okay.
Then cultural industry. Cultural industry. Cultural industry. Do they exist in Nigeria? I don't think so.
They exist as
Okay.
it's like a segment of entertainment. Okay.
Okay.
Those in culture and tourism.
Okay. Tourism.
Culture and tourism, they are there.
Okay. Then
We want
okay.
to agree with the last one, poverty industry.
Poverty industry. They don't manufacture poverty.
We are talking about those we do with poverty alleviation and so, but
Okay, poverty alleviation.
let's just, so maybe they deal with products that address issue of poverty. I don't know,
Poverty.
but
Okay.
these are the basic things that we have on the.
Okay.
Look at this side now. Agro-based. This is another classification of another group. We have a comprehensive one. These are other kind of classification. Agro-based, cotton, textile, and like that. Mineral-based. Look at those ones. Tell me
Okay.
automobile industry and information technology. So these are classification based on product. These are classification based on product. So let's go to another form of classification. Now look at this one now. Standard industrial classification. Standard industrial.
Okay.
Let me tell you, there are so many industries across the globe. There are too many industries across the globe, and classification sometimes may be difficult. But if you come up with your own design, your own template,
yes,
it can be adopted. Look at this one now.
Yes.
SIC, Standard Industrial Classification. It is based on 4-digit code. It is based on as you see this code there, a particular code represents a particular industry. Okay?
Okay.
It is established in the US in 1937. Read on.
Okay. It is based on 4-digit code.
Good.
Established in the US in 1937, used by agencies in other nations.
It is not only in US, they use this standard industrial classification. Some other nations have adopted it. So the first three digits of the SIC code.
The first three digits of the digits indicates the major group SIC code and industries.
Good. So, so the first three digits of this SIC indicate the industry group. The first two digits indicate the major group. So now refer to your course materials for,
Okay.
you see more explanation. And there, some of these codes are there.
Okay.
Look at this code now.
Okay.
I got this on the internet. From 01 to 09,
Okay.
they deal with agriculture, forestry, fishing. So in a way of seeing this number, without even seeing their product, you know that they are in agricultural, forestry, and fishing. And that's why they call it standard. It has been standardized.
Yes.
If you see from 10 to 14,
Okay.
they deal with what? Mining.
Mining.
You don't necessarily need,
Mining.
yes, you don't necessarily need to see their name before you know. For those in construction,
Okay.
can I see them? For those in construction,
Yes, 15 to 17.
those in manufacturing, 20 to 59. Those in transportation and public utilities, 40 to 49. Those in, sorry, those in wholesale trade, 50 to 51.
Yes.
And retail trade, 52 to 59, as you can see. And the finance, insurance, real estate, you can see them, 60 to 67. Services, 70 to 89. And those in public administration. So these are standardized way of classifying, industry. So these are, we have been able to explain the four basic ways of, classifying industry. I want you to know the four, and I want you to, choose a particular one that you need to write very well about. Okay. Of course, out of the four,
Okay.
you can be asked to, give details of a particular one. Just ensure you.
Okay.
That one. Now look at the activity.
Okay.
Read out what is it.
Briefly describe the industry classification template you will prefer to adopt. Why your choice and not others?
I want you to look at those four. If you want to choose any, which one would you want to choose? And explain the reason why you want to choose them. So it can. So that's just for our activity time. Let's go on.
Okay.
Now, there's another sector in the industry called information industry. Information industry. So the information industries are industries that are information intensive in one way or the other. They deal with information. That is either the information in terms of the gadgets, the information in terms of news, whichever, anything that has to do with information, they are referred to as information industry. Industry producing information goods and services are called information industry. So media such as music, motion pictures, those in the music industry,
Yes.
they are regarded to be in the information industry. Those that deal with motion pictures, cinemas, they're also in information industry. Those that deal with production of computers, even personal computers, as long as those things are used for conveyance of information, they also refer to as information industry. Video games, related industries are part of the industry. In this case, I can see they try to include those in the entertainment, so they are referred to as. So by the time you ask to explain information industry, you should be very comprehensive in your explanation. In case of businesses, information industries include computer programming, system design, telecommunication, and others. So this kind of a brief overview of what information industry is all about. So, like I always say, you have much more details in your course material
That's my
to
thing.
follow. Now, we also have classification of information industries. There are ways to classify them. Okay, you can classify them: companies which produce and sell information, companies which produce and sell information. You know, we have information processing services. There are also companies that process information. Yes, information processing services. You can classify them based on the way they process information. Industries that are concerned with dissemination of information goods. So, in these areas, we may be talking about media houses and manufacturers of information processing devices, camera, computer devices, even our telephone, our smartphones. So, industries that are dealing in the production of those ones, they're also information industries. So, they can be classified under that. So, research intensive industries. There are also some industries under information industries that are into research, intensive research. Industries that serve as infrastructure for information production and sophisticated decision making. Okay, so they are also part of information industries. So, how do you want to classify when you talk about Nigerian broadcasting industry? Nigerian broadcasting industries, how do you classify them? They are also under
It will
information
be
industry. You classify
okay.
under decision making, sophisticated decision making.
Okay, decision making.
Yes,
Okay.
because when there are errors in the industry, like in the media houses, they are responsible. If they overshoot their bounds, they are responsible for controls, regulations. So these are some of the ways to classify information industry. Now let's move on. Why do you think information industry is so important? Why is it like, let me say this? Information industry also involve those into advertorials,
Okay.
advertisement industry. They also
Yes.
information industry. It's a very big industry. It's a very big industry. And now I want you to go through this. Why is information industry important? Read
Okay.
and possibly give small explanation. Read my slide
Okay.
and give brief explanation.
All right. Why is information industry important? Number one, it boosts innovation and productivity of other industries.
Can you give explanation of that one? What do you think I'm trying to say?
Because uh, as they receive more information, they get more innovations into ways of boosting their productivity.
No. You see, it's not about the information industry. It
Okay.
boosts the productivity of other industry.
Okay. Apart from information industry.
Yes. For example,
Okay.
if you see publicity about a particular product, the packaging and the rebranding is the information industry that will do all those things.
Okay.
Look at your banks. Some banks have gone into extinction today.
Yes.
Some products have equally gone into extinction. Whereas we see have some products that are still in existence. For example, look at Picnic.
Yes.
Picnic is a product. And today, one of those things that is keeping Picnic at the top, beside the quality of the product, is because of the information industry, regular advertisement, and so it boosts their productivity. Information industry are rapidly growing part of our economy. Yes. Look at the social media. Social media is also an example of information industry. Do you want to try what Facebook is doing? Do you want to try what WhatsApp platform, and all other social media platforms that make use of the information industry? That's what they're saying. They are rapidly growing part of the economy. Okay, gone are the days when you talk about oil industry as the most viable. No, we are talking about cool dollars now. They are in the information industry. Information becomes the central part of our economic activity. We evolve into an information society. When talking about information society, do you want to, okay, look at the way we are even connecting ourselves. A class is going on right away.
Yes.
It is by the virtue of the information industry. And we are using Zoom application. Let me tell you, Zoom application was not there 10 years ago.
Yes.
Now you can see, so it's an evolving industry and it's really, developing the economy. And that is why United States and other China, they are really exploring the information industry. Manufacturers of information processing devices. I know is that you are using your phone. I'm making use of my own laptop. The manufacturer of these
Okay.
processing devices, they are, is a big time industry that cannot be pushed aside. So that is about information industry. Now let's talk about let's now go back to another form of classification of locally manufactured. Now we want to talk about locally manufactured products in Nigeria now. Let's come back home. All our discussion so far has been at the global level. Now let's come back home. If you want to do any classification in the country, look at this: food, beverages, and tobacco. So this is a classification. It occupies a particular group: food, beverages, and tobacco. Forget your issue with tobacco. They are classified under this category. Now, the second classification, chemical and pharmaceutical. They categorize this: chemical and pharmaceutical. Now, look at domestic, industrial, plastic, and rubber. So, domestic plastic and domestic rubber, industrial plastic, industrial rubber. So, this is a classification. They also talk about basic metal, iron and steel, and fabricated metal products. Basic metal, iron and steel, and fabricated metal products. They are also under a particular classification. Now look at this: pulp, paper products, printing, and publishing. Pulp, pulp is from trees.
Wood.
Yeah, from wood. So paper products, printing. So they classify them under. They classify electrical and electronics under the same heading, under the same group. Textile, wearing apparel, and leather. So these are also under the same classification. Wood products, including furniture. Furniture. Now, in this case, now they're particular about furniture. So we also have non-metallic and mineral products. Non-metallic and mineral products. And lastly, we have vehicle and miscellaneous assembly. Vehicle and miscellaneous. So these are the classification under the local products that we have. Let's continue. Like I said, we are trying to treat two topics in one. Still under industry.
Okay.
Now we want to talk about location industry. And
Okay.
what do you call location of industry? what is location. And in future, we are going to talk about localization of industry. But right away, we are talking
Okay.
about location of industry. I want you to
Okay.
read from the slide. What do you see there?
Okay. It is the establishment of a firm or industry in a particular place.
Simple, simple. That is what you call. Go on, go on. Go on, go on. Read on. I can hear you. Hello? Are you part of our SED412 class? You are part of the class, Abi? Log in now. Can't you log in? We're already in the class. Log in.
Hello. Yes, I can hear you, sir. Sir?
Go to our platform.
Yes, I'm part of the class.
One of the students wants to come in. He doesn't know how to log in. He's asking me the website. Let's continue. I said you should read this. You have read the first line. Go to the second line.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Go to the second line. What is the second line?
Second line. An industry may be either by individual or government, either for economic or political reasons.
So these are
the major conditions for locating.
Wait. For that second point, an industry may be established either by individual or government. These are the two reasons. These are the two groups that can establish company. They either establish those industry for economic or political reasons. Some of these factors, some of these variables are some of the things that will determine the location of industries. Now, read the third point. Go ahead. Hello? Hello? How about you, Ali? It's like your network is no longer strong. I want you to read the last line.
I'm hearing now.
Read the last line. The major condition. Let me do it for you, don't worry. The major condition for locating an industry is that the cost.
The last one is the major condition for locating an industry is that. Okay.
Continue.
Okay.
Continue. Anyway, is that the cost of production must be at the lowest level in order to ensure the continued existence of such an industry. For an industrialist, entrepreneur, they look at cost of production. Cost of production is a very important factor in determining location of industry. Cost of production. You don't joke with that. Very, very essential in determining the. So let's go on now. So let's now talk about some factors that influence location of an industry. Unmute yourself. So let me go back to that. First, proximity of raw materials. Proximity of raw material is very key. Your raw material will not be in Katsina. You go and locate your industry in Katsina. I mean, in Lagos. Your proximity to raw materials is very key. And that is why Dangote has to locate this cement industry, Obajano cement industry, in that locality, because the deposit of the raw materials is so humongous. So unmute yourself, if you want to talk, unmute yourself. Nearness to market is another very important point. Can you
Okay.
hear me? Can you hear me now?
Okay.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me
Yes, I'm hearing you, sir.
now? So I'm trying to list the factors that influence location of an industry: proximity of raw material, nearness to market, availability of capital.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, nearness to source of power,
Yes.
energy is key.
Yes.
Availability of labor. A lot of industry are in China today because a lot of industry are in China because they have access to cheap labor. Access to cheap labor. Adequate transport system. Adequate transport system. So it's a very key point. Political stability. No industry, no industrialists want to establish in the country where the political stability is not encouraging. Okay, so it's very key.
Yes.
Favorable growth. They want to know. They want a place where that will encourage the growth as an entity. Location of other farms. There's some other farms that will do like a service provider to them. They want to stay there. Government policy. They also look at government policy. A government policy may not be favorable in Ekiti State. It may be favorable, in Benue State. It may not be favorable in River State. It may be favorable in Lagos State. So it depends on government policy, sites and services. So this is also talking about other, industries. Now look at this. They also look at natural and climatic consideration. Natural and climatic consideration is also very important. Personal factors. If you are, an industrialist,
Yeah.
you might want to consider
Qualification.
development of your people. So it might be okay if you are an indigenous of Ekiti State. Maybe you want to look at, creating the job for your people. So it might be a personal factor. There are some other strategic consideration, external economies, and so many other miscellaneous factors. I mean, so if you are asked to highlight or discuss on factors that influence the of industries, you have so much points to write about. Now let's look at reason for government participation in the location of industries in Nigeria. Sometimes it is government that will tell you where you're going to locate your industry. You might have a particular point, a place in mind. Government might intervene and say, no, you can't locate it there. These are some of the reasons why. These are some of the reasons. Wait, these are some of the reasons why they want to, involve. Well, number one, to raise the standard of living of a particular place. Maybe they want a place to be developed, so they want to raise that standard of living by exciting industry in that place. Provision of standard goods. The existence of original cement, integrated cement in Obajana, has brought about a lot of development in that area. So that one is key. Equitable spread of development. All industries should not be sited in the heart of Lagos. They can be taken to other areas. Imagine Dangote siting beside the part of raw materials, bringing, all his company to a particular place. No. So equitable spread of development, political consideration. Political consideration is one of very important points. You know, if a government wants to establish an industry now, they will look at, okay, this particular region voted for a party. Doing this. So let's take this company to that area, you know, to check rural urban migration. This is another very important point why government want to intervene. So you cannot continue to set oil industries in the urban area. So they want to go to rural area for economic development, provision of standard goods, just like the earlier point we raised, for strategic reasons and provision of employment opportunity. These are some of the reasons. So now, I'm coming in this place now. Look at this activity. I said, as an industrialist, I want you, Oli. Are you there? Hello? I want you, Oli. Okay, as an industrialist, articulate 10 factors that will be considered when planning for the location of your new industries. So I want you to, assume yourself to be an industrialist now, articulate 10 factors that you consider. So in this class, we have talked about industrial classification. Industrial classification organizes economic activities in general and economic organizations, companies, non-profit organizations, etc. In particular into categories, generally called sectors or industries. So we have talked about classification of industry. We have also looked at many factors that influence location of industries. And I said, nowadays, the change from heavy industries to light industry has meant that industries can locate anywhere, and so other factors such as communication links and government policy. So all those things that we have discussed today, I want you to look at them again, look at them up in your study materials, and possibly send me some questions. I want you, are you there? Hello? Hello? I want you, I can't hear you. Are you still in the class?
Yes, I'm
You have to
in the class. The line is fluctuating.
okay, okay.
Yes.
I said, do you have any question? Let me ask you this. If you are hearing me, can we schedule some other classes to meet up with
Okay.
when best can we meet again?
Today?
Not today. Maybe
Okay.
can we meet in 2 days' time
Yes, on Thursday.
on Thursday?
Yes, sir.
No, Thursday. Okay, today is okay, today is Tuesday. Okay, on Thursday, let's meet on Thursday. Let's meet on Thursday.
Today is Tuesday.
Okay. Let's meet on Thursday. All right. So till then, bye. Goodbye. Hmm. So we'll see you next
Thursday.
class. We'll meet on Thursday. Same time.
Okay, okay, sir.
Goodbye.
Okay. Thank
Yeah.
you, sir. Bye-bye, sir.